Hi again, this is Jasmine Polly from Wellness Vision. Thanks for joining me again for the second episode of my Wellness Essentials series. Now what I want to do today is help you get a better sleep. So I'm going to cover three main aspects. First of all, I just want to give you a real brief overview of some things you may not know about the benefits of sleep. Then I want to talk about how much sleep do you really need. And lastly, the most important part, I want to give you some tips that will help you get a better sleep pretty much straight away. All right, so first up, the benefits of sleep that you might not know. Sleep has a really huge effect on our hormones. Most of our hormones work on a circadian rhythm, so they're really responsive to day and night and to our sleep cycle. So hormones such as your growth hormone, which is and DHEA, which are pretty much your anti-aging hormones required for the health of all of your cells, and they're master hormones that regulate a lot of your other hormones in the body. Then you have hormones like your melatonin, which is needed for good sleep, and it's also needed for your production of serotonin, your happy hormone. So it's not surprising that having not enough sleep or also too much sleep is associated with more stress or depression. Sleep also affects your sex hormones as well. With, for instance, men, poor sleep quality is related to lower testosterone levels, and in women, progesterone is also related to good sleep. So if there's issues with the menstrual cycle, then that can affect your sleep as well. And another hormone as well that you would have heard a fair bit about recently is insulin, because sleep really affects our insulin sensitivity, so it can be linked with obesity as well. Now, how much sleep do you need? Results show that it really varies person to person, but generally most people need between 7 and 9 hours. So some people down to 6 is okay. So it really depends on how you're feeling. But if you're starting to feel tired by the end of the week and you're having 6 hours sleep, or you find you nodding off at times in front of the TV, then maybe that 6 hours is still not really enough for you and you're just used to it. So really, have a look at your lifestyle and are you really getting enough sleep? The same goes for if you're sleeping too much. So over 9 hours is going to have pretty much the same negative effects as having less than 6 hours. So try to find your sweet spot where you wake up in the morning, feel like you don't need any more, you can wake up before the alarm, that type of thing. So some tips to help you get a better sleep. Now, I really find that it comes down to four main things. Looking at any stimulating things in your life, your sleep environment, your routine before you get into bed, and what you do to wind down. So first off, I know that everybody knows about caffeine. So yes, caffeine is not a great one. It's worse for some people than others. There's a specific SNP or genetic variation that some people have that slows down their metabolism of caffeine. So in most people, caffeine has a half-life of about 6 hours, which means that's how long it takes until half that caffeine is removed from the system. So, but somebody who is a slow metabolizer, it could take a lot longer than that. So therefore, I generally recommend if anybody's having any sleep issues, try to limit your caffeine consumption to 1, maximum 2 cups a day, and try to have that before midday, as that can really affect your sleep. Also watch things like Coke and chocolate, because they also contain caffeine too, and I won't go into any more of that, but that's a big one. The other one is alcohol. A lot of people know that alcohol is a sedative, and yes, it can help you get to sleep. Yes, you can pass out from having too much alcohol, but the thing is that it also affects your circadian rhythm, and it can make you wake up later in the night. So if you are somebody that always needs that alcohol to get off to sleep, but find that you're waking up through the night, then that could be part of the problem. So that brings me on to your environment. It needs to be dark. So if you don't have blockout curtains, or you've got a lot of actual night lights or those alarm clocks that are quite brightly lit, get rid of them. Try to get a battery operated alarm clock. There's also the electromagnetic field that some people can be sensitive to. So if you've got a lot of plugged in devices that are running on, the 240 volt power from power cords, like electric blankets and things like that, that can affect some people. So try to get all of that electricity things out of the room. So TVs with the standby lights, all of that sort of stuff. If you can wake up through the night and you can see around your room, then your room's too bright, and that will definitely affect your circadian rhythm. So that's one thing. The other thing is making sure that you're not too hot. So cotton sheets and things like, especially this time of year. Fresh air is also a good one. All of those things that make the body comfortable. Now, routine is really important. It is important to have a wind down routine. We all know that with our kids. If you've got little kids, I'm sure that you've got a bedtime routine if you have any sanity. But the same thing happens with us as well. If you don't have a routine and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's late, I need to go to bed, chances are you're not going to sleep very well. But if you've actually set yourself an alarm about an hour before you need to be in bed, or you need to be asleep, and so know that how long it takes from when you get into bed to when you sleep as well. So if it's say 15 minutes, then make sure that you're in bed that 15 minutes before. But if you've got that alarm set, then that gives you time to think, okay, well, I'm going to turn off anything that's going to stimulate me. I'm going to do something that's going to help relax me. That might be a cup of herbal tea. It might be a warm bath, anything that's warming. So a warm bath, a hot shower, that kind of thing will definitely help settle the body. Breathing, especially with a longer out breath. So it's probably a good idea to actually have a bit of a research or go and do some yoga to learn more about the breathing, because there's a lot that can be done to actually turn off our stressed out fight or flight sympathetic nervous system and get us more into that relaxing parasympathetic nervous system. So breathing can really help. Was the other thing I was going to say with that, like even some essential oils. So lavender, they've actually done studies for just your lavender essential oil showing that it's an anxiolytic, which means that it actually has some really good effects for reducing anxiety. So putting some drops of lavender in the bath would be a great thing, or a lavender body lotion or something like that could help as well. So you may have heard of some of these things, but they are quite important. Another just one to note on routine as well is making sure that you're active during the day. If your mind's active but you haven't moved around very much, your body's not physically exhausted. So it really is important to try to put a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be vigorous, depending on your health and fitness level. Just even a walk, even if it's after dinner with your partner or with your kids or something like that, to take the dog for a walk, something like that could be great, especially with these longer days now that it's summer. So I really hope that that's been useful for you, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.